Hello. So, advice or a listening ear was the little note I made for myself um, for what I wanted to talk about. Um, and this one really goes out to those of you who are like me and find it challenging to know what people need or want from you sometimes. Okay. And that's um, not intended to sound dramatic. It's just that it can be a genuine problem sometimes. And it's definitely something that I reflect on in the context of like potential neurodiverse brains, uh, where actually, that's one of the problems that neurodiverse people can have is knowing what people, knowing what people's expectations are, knowing what people want from you. So this is really in the context of close relationships, so friends, family, romantic relationships, particularly kind of long-standing ones as well. Um, so when people are coming and talking to you about potentially things that are going on in their life, maybe problems that they're having, difficulties that they're having, um, it might be that you're watching this and you're thinking, well, yeah, that's dead easy. I know exactly what I'm doing in those situations. Whether it be, and it's usually either going to be offering a bit of advice, or maybe there's something practical that they can actually do to help. But it might be that actually, there's no expectation for you to be fixing that or giving advice of any kind, and actually all the person wants you to do is listen. And I guess when it comes down to it, that's the least that you can do really, is just sit there and listen and allow them to talk. Um, I've spoken about this on so many occasions before in videos and sort of written content and things, is it's so rare um, to be listened to these days. We're all kind of just wait, where people are just waiting to say their piece essentially, because we've all got so many mouthpieces to do that now. I'm utilizing one of them right now, which is slightly ironic. Um, and that's why, things like coaching are so valuable. You can go into a space where someone is just there to listen to you. They're there about you, and we're thinking about what's going on with you, and we're thinking about what's going to be ahead for you, and that's all directed by you as well. So it's a really, kind of powerful process, and part of that is because there's so little of it in our modern lives. So yeah, kind of back to that whole thing of, you've got a friend, or you've got a family member, or someone who just kind of wants to talk to you about something. Um, and it can be quite tricky, like the way my brain's wired is, I mean, I guess I'm I'm kind of a problem solver, I suppose, to some extent, is that I want to solve problems. But then there's occasions um, where I'm kind of caught in this kind of catch-22 situation of, I want to solve the problem, but I, lack the time, I lack the energy, I lack the, insert resource here. And that can set off a little cascade of like internal warning bells of, I feel like I need to sort this, but actually I can't for whatever reason. And that can make you feel kind of stressed and anxious. And this is a whole cascade of stuff that's just gone off completely automatically, completely unintentionally from the person that's come to talk to you about it. Because actually, it might be that they actually don't have any agenda at all for it. They just want to come and talk to someone about it. It might be that they have I've come to talk to you about it because I know that you can help. And certainly for me, I find it helpful if people actually start with that. I'm speaking to you about this because I think you might be able to help. Okay, fine. But yeah, other times I'm just kind of left going, I don't know what's expected of me here. So I try and boil it down to, do you need advice in a listening ear? Is that all you need? At the very least. Or do you need me to, to actually do something? You need to be very careful how you word that, of course. Um, and if in doubt, just listen. And then, look for any cues that there might be something either that you can do or that is being expected of you to do. And if you're still not sure by the time you've listened and listened a bit more and listened a bit more, then you can always ask. There's no harm in kind of saying, I'm really sorry that this is going on, and I can see, hear, feel, recognize in some way that that this is making you unhappy, making you stressed. Is there something that I can do to help? and that's only really, if you've gotten to that point and you don't really know what the expectation is. And again, this is I'm talking about my brain here, my probably differently wired brain. A lot of the time I don't know. And in the sort of roles I've been in for so many years, and I guess just in my general nature, I am a problem solver and I like to help and I want to help. But it's just sometimes where you're like, oh, I'd love to help, but I don't know how I could. I don't know if I've got the time. I don't know if, it depends on what it is. There's certain people in my life um, who actually, I would always find time for. Even if I was so tired or, so busy, there are, a handful of people in my life that I will make time for. I will muster up some reserves of energy from somewhere. There's no way that I'm going to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm too tired to be dealing with this now. I'm going to be like, this is, an important person to me. I'm gonna, find it from somewhere. I'm gonna find the time. I'm gonna find the energy. I'm gonna find, whatever, to help them, sort this out. But yeah, so it's just that kind of anxiety. It can kind of make you appear a bit prickly sometimes when people come to talk to you about things. If you have that like expectation that you need to do something or you're not sure and you feel like you can't, then that can just make you seem a bit prickly and a bit unapproachable, which is not very good. And also, it creates a bit of anxiety internally, which you don't really need to experience, which is completely avoidable by just, listening and listening a bit more and listening a bit more. And then when you think there's no more listening to do, just listen a bit more. And then when things have been, kind of fully expressed, you either then know what you need to do or what you can do, um, or you're in a position then where you probably have quite a good opportunity to kind of, to empathize, not sympathize, empathize, and then say, is there anything that I can do if it's not immediately obvious? Okay, so it always comes down to that, not jump, recognize how you're feeling about it, recognize why you're feeling that way about it. Try not to jump to any conclusions or assumptions. Um, and then ask appropriate questions, be curious. You can't go too far wrong from being curious generally. There's always exceptions. But yeah, just ask if you're not sure. Don't make assumptions about what's being expected of you. This will significantly reduce the burden that you're putting on yourself to solve other people's problems. And you'll get a much more accurate picture of exactly what they might be thinking that you might do or that you can actually do. And more often than not, they probably just want to be listened to, which you should already have done through the listening a bit more process. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If in doubt, listen, and then if you're still not sure, ask questions. Okay, let me know what you think, and I'll speak to you again soon.